What's going on, folks? Welcome back to Kai Jukebox. Today we're going to be discussing Kunitsu Gami Path of the Goddess, which recently got its own demo on Steam, and I have to say, I'm over the moon about this one. It's not often that some of these older traditional Japanese studios give us new games, but Capcom is releasing a new IP, and I have to say, from what I've played from the demo, it's pretty fun. I have to say, it's taking after sort of this tower defense genre, which is, I'd say, kind of played out at this point. But it's got lots of twists on it. And so far from the demo, what I've played, it seems like Capcom might have another hit on their hands. Now, they did release Exoprimal last year around this time, which it's coming up on its 1 year anniversary, and that was a new IP that has seemingly failed. I think that there was reports recently that the congruent player count on Steam was something like 46 players or something like that. So Capcom keeps putting that game on sale, hoping that it will take off. And they've even announced recently that they're continuing, or that they will no longer be continuing to support the title. No more updates. So what was supposed to be a live service style game has pretty much flopped for them, even though it included crossovers with Street Fighter and Monster Hunter. But this game is more in the vein of a single player experience, so I don't foresee it having tons and tons of updates to go alongside it. But this demo is definitely preparing my excitement. When they first showed this off several months ago, it came as a surprise for me because it has sort of this older graphical style that may not be appealing to many, but to me, I think it's extremely unique and sort of a watercolor painting, but also has a lot of muted colors to it. I love the blues, I love the pinks, and like the muddy grays and greens. A lot of people might not take to that as much, but this game really is taking on a graphical style and color scheme from Monster Hunter Rise, which personally I think that game's gorgeous. And playing it on my 2K monitor here at my PC setup, the game looked really good. It really takes on this PS2 style of gameplay, or which is a comparison that I've heard online, but I would also compare it to something that you might have seen on one of Nintendo's later handhelds, like maybe the DS or the 3DS. It's got sort of a simple loop to it, but one that is very engaging and unique. During the daytime, you're sort of preparing for the onslaught of enemies as they come out of this gate. So you're given an individual map each level, and you have to guide this maiden as she does a ritual to cleanse the area. And so that's where the name Path of the Goddess comes from. You are collecting a certain material that allows you to pave the way for her forward. And so it's not something that happens instantly, and you will be defending her. I must add that you will be defending her. And so that's where the tower defense element comes into play, but she's making her way through the stage each time. And I can see in the later levels, I'd assume, that this can get pretty complicated. And even in the first couple areas that they let you play in this demo, there are multiple pathways where enemies will try to sneak around and get to her while you're focusing on enemies maybe at the gate, or maybe on your companion players that you set up during the daytime. And there is this give and take where the currency that you're using to pave the way, what it costs to pave the way, you can also be spending on your companions to get better classes and maybe even weapons. I've only, just fair point here, I've only played a couple sessions of this, maybe at most 2 hours. So I wasn't able to get super deep. I haven't beat the demo yet because what I played was enough for me. It's coming out on Game Pass, which we'll get to in a second. But when I saw that it was coming to Game Pass, I figured, well, I'll play it there, and I don't want to spoil any more of the game. I'll go ahead and cut myself off with the demo. Your main character here that you play as, I think it's pronounced So, absolutely legendary. I feel like his armor design is just amazing. I want to see some cosplay of this guy. And then you have Yoshiro, which I think is how it's. I'm bad at pronouncing Japanese names, so excuse me if I butcher it. Uh, great art style on here, and it does take after that Japanese yokai type style where the enemies sort of are maybe deformed a little bit, something that you might see in an Elden Ring, which also takes that type of inspiration. There's a lot of grotesque style enemies, and I really love that. I love all of the enemy designs that I've seen so far. There are several different classes for the companion players who will be the little NPCs that are also defending. Uh, right now I'm taking a look at the website that they've put up. I might put some screenshots of it up as I scroll through it. But I've seen some pretty freaky, in the trailers at least, some pretty freaky looking enemies. And I'm really excited to take them down. And this it's sort of isometric, the way that you can pan the camera all the way around, but it doesn't have like a new modern 3D feel to it. And I am really excited for that. You don't see these types of things anymore. These types of games that are not afraid to, one, try something new, but also go back to like an art style or a camera positioning that feels slightly outdated, but also feels nostalgic and sort of welcoming. I am kind of getting sick of like the Ubisoft open world fluff type of game. Like, come go run to this point. The open world style to me is getting so boring. I'm so sick of it. And I honestly find myself going back to games like Tetris. And you may have seen my Happy Birthday to Tetris video. That was sort of satire, but at the same time, I do really love Tetris. But that type of game, which is pick up and play, level based, simple to learn, but also has some depth to it, because obviously Tetris is very easy to learn, but it takes years to become a master of that game. That style of game, I feel like I haven't, and maybe in indies, we see it in indies, but in the from the big studios, I feel like we're having a drought of that style, and that excites me. I don't know that this game is all that long. It is a $50 game, so Capcom is sort of putting it in that lower tier of, hey, here's an experience. We're announcing it 2 or 3 months ahead of time. Be there, dropping into Game Pass. It's going to be on Steam. I wish this was coming to Switch. I feel like it could run on Switch with some graphical step downs and run fine, but I feel like it'd really be at home on Switch. Probably find a good fan base there, but I am scared with it being a new IP, because something like Exo Primal, which was supposed to be this big AAA, live service experience from Capcom, it's flopped. And to be honest, while I'm singing the praises of this demo, I foresee this game sort of being a flop for them, and I'm afraid. Of course, we haven't even gotten the game yet. It comes out July 19th, I believe. So only a couple weeks away. We haven't gotten the game yet, and I'm already worried that this is going to be a one-off thing. And that makes me sad. So pick it up, try the demo, and pick up the game. I will be buying it, but I'm going to play through it on Game Pass first. And that's something that's really concerning to me, is it's coming out on Game Pass, which we don't really see from Capcom. Day one releases on Dragon's Dogma 2, no. Monster Hunter Rise did drop into Game Pass, but it was an exclusive to Switch first for several years or so. But Street Fighter 6 didn't drop onto Game Pass, and so I'm kind of intrigued that this is falling into Game Pass. And I think that a lot of companies don't see the revenue return they're expecting, because that's just sort of the Game Pass model. But I hope that it sells well on Steam. I hope that it has a really nice boom in the beginning. Maybe we'll get some. This seems like something we may get some DLC for, because I mean, dropping extra maps and levels doesn't seem super complicated. I'm not sure how long this is going to be. I'd assume it's, a 10 or 15 hour experience, but I think that this is going to be something really cool, and it might be a one off thing. It might be a one of a kind niche experience from Capcom, but I'm here for it. I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeve with this one. And I think that they may have another banger on their hands. So go try that demo. The game comes out July 19th. Pick it up on Game Pass if you will. If you got the means, buy it. Show Capcom some love. And happy pathing of the goddessing. Signing off.